skips away, Marshall skips away, Marshall's still going, Marshall's got Richards coming up outside, now inside.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing.
Bennett and the Dragons win the grand final.
Whips that one away, and Kane Williamson and his team now World Test Champions.
Welcome back to the TGIF podcast. Thank God it's footy, featuring special guest Ace over here, Ace Ventura.
We've finally managed to get a little guest appearance going. First guest is Ace.
Second time appearance, I believe. He might have briefly shown his face in a prior episode, but whether or not he's still in the shot now,
he may
remain to be seen in the edit. But
he's here. We're yet to get
definitely present.
A second camera sort of going. So you know, if we had the second sort of guest camera going, I think we'd be okay. But he's here. He's with us. We're into another short week where we've got obviously the big game this time next week. No, this time tomorrow.
Week and a day, yeah.
8 days away. Game 3, obviously the decider. New South Wales up against Queensland, sitting there at 1-1. And we see a few changes to both squads. We'll have a look there at New South Wales to start off with. The first one there. Is that the only one actually there?
Only one for the starting lineup.
Bradman Best.
Yep, Bradman Best.
Start for Latrell there.
Yeah, Latrell pulling up with a foot injury. So unfortunate for New South Wales fans, but
they were asking Tommy after the game whether he thought he'd be up for Origin.
Look, to be fair, Tommy, he's definitely got the runs on the board in terms of his career. Whether this season he's got enough runs on the board to be getting called up into a New South Wales lineup. It's probably a bit dodgy, and Madge probably steered clear of that. Lucky Bradman Best is in such good form. He kind of comes in with not too many arguments there, I reckon.
Nice easy selection.
Played well last year in Game 3, obviously, when the pressure was off, but interesting to see how he goes in this one. The cauldron, they say at Suncorp, so yeah, good to see for Bradman Best. And then obviously Mitch Barnett, huge season, couple of seasons really for the Warriors there. Into the bench for New South Wales, or onto the bench to replace Hamole Olakuatu. A little bit of a change in tack for Madge.
It's a big call though.
Possibly thinking New South Wales might be a little bit more under the pump in this game. Mitch Barnett probably punches out a few more minutes towards the middle of the park.
It's a big call though.
I think Cam Murray can shift out to an edge as well, but Mitch Barnett's played a bit there.
He's unlucky to miss out though, Hamole, I think.
Yeah, Hamole drops into 19th spot in the squad, so unlucky for Hamole. Probably didn't really get as much of an opportunity as he would have liked, as New South Wales fans would have liked. But probably can't blame Madge for not changing things up. Game 2, first half there when things were going so well. So yeah, Mitch Barnett, whether or not that's a nod that Madge sees this one is going to be a bit more tough in the middle for New South Wales. Just a different prototype of player, that's for sure, Mitch Barnett, but deserves his call up nonetheless. But as you say, unlucky for Hamole.
Yeah, definitely very unlucky there. Were there any more changes there in the reserves? Not for New South Wales. Obviously, Olakuatu there dropping into those reserves there. But Queensland also had to make a few changes. A couple there in the backs, actually. Three change-ups there. Selwyn Cobbo being called in.
Yep.
Dane Gagai becomes I believe the second oldest centre to play for Queensland behind Mamaninga.
Okay.
100 or so days, I think it was, something around that mark. And Valentine Holmes also coming in.
Val Holmes obviously played last game in the centres there, but shifts out to the wing with a little bit of a reshuffle for Billy, with Coates and Taulagi going down with injuries. Yeah, Dane Gagai's been playing pretty well, whether or not his age does come into it. I think he's carrying good enough form, good enough track record in Origin for Billy to call on him and not have too many worries there. Definitely a plus that he's not marking up against Latrell Mitchell as well. As much of a handful as Bradman Best would be, I think Latrell just sort of has that name, that aura about him that leaves you a little bit worried. Dane Gagai obviously sees a lot of Bradman Best at club training there. Whether or not they actually are going up against each other or not remains to be seen. I think that's the way it lined up last time. Whether or not that's how it lines up this time, we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure the news will drop, or we'll see come Wednesday night. But an interesting little matchup there, and yeah, a bit of a shake-up in the outside backs for Queensland. Yeah, I guess needs must with those injuries, I suppose.
Yeah, obviously a few players there going down, so they've had to shuffle a few things around there. Capewell as well.
Coming in to replace the drop to Jaden Sewer.
Yep, so handy for you guys, I guess. That's
handy for the Dragons. We get him this week, but yeah, Kirk Capewell coming into the back row for Queensland. I mean, probably a more suited spot for himself rather than that bench utility role, you'd have to say. But
yeah, I think having him there to start, I think is the way to go. He's obviously had a pretty awesome couple of seasons there as well in that role. So
obviously, he's picked David Fifita for the post, which is a huge talking point there. I think you've probably heard a lot of New South Wales fans say it, but definitely breathing a sigh of relief upon not seeing David Fifita there. No disrespect to Kirk Capewell. He does his job in a
completely different
way, but yeah, David Fifita is certainly an eyebrow raiser potentially there, missing out on that side, but we see another eyebrow raiser, depending on how you look at it, on the bench there coming into that utility role, KP, Kalen Ponga.
Yep.
He's certainly a superstar. Whether or not Queensland have maybe gone a little bit small on their bench there remains to be seen, but plenty of talent, and we've seen KP break open the game at Origin level before, so yeah, wouldn't put it past him coming off the bench.
He's
had a huge impact, man of the match type performance. We've seen that from him before.
One of those players that does that in a big game like that. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he did come on and get involved and be that game changer. It's apart from obviously a few changes there due to injuries. It's a pretty similar looking squads there to game 2. Obviously, you said there before the Cauldron. It's going to be a tough one for New South Wales heading up to Suncorp there. Obviously, teed up very nicely for Queensland to roll into this deciding match at home. We also you've just scrolled down. Reid Marnie being called in.
I don't know if that's his first time. He may have been involved with the squad in that Munty year, 2021.
Okay.
Queensland got dominated the first 2 games. Not 100% sure of that. Might have had to pull out due to injury one year, but Reid Marnie into the squad deserved it. He's been playing some good footy for the Dogs.
If for some reason Grant goes down,
he hasn't played Harry Grant since Origin 2 there for Melbourne.
So if Marnie does get called in there, I'm sure he'll be up for a little bit of a scuffle there. Cause a little bit of drama in game 3. We've seen what he's got himself into in the NRL over the last couple of months.
McInnes 2.0.
Marnie. 100%. He's an absolute grub, but a very good player to watch nonetheless. But yeah, those are your changes to the Origin squads. I'm picking. it's a tough one.
I find it hard to, even to take the bias out of it. Obviously history points towards Queensland and the decider up there. New South Wales have only got it done twice in history there, but the game 2 performance was really impressive from New South Wales. So you think if they can bring some of that form that they showed into it, it's obviously not going to all go their way in terms of the refereeing decisions again. I don't think.
I'm the other way. I'm just thinking. I'm kind of with the stat line there. You know, that's 2 times that New South Wales have done that. One there at St Kilda in game 3, and I think that's going to be the swinger. I think going there.
50,000 mad Queenslanders.
Yeah, it's a tough ask.
No matter how bad Queensland look or how good New South Wales look, it's always a heavily favoured game for Queensland up there. So you're right, it will be tough, but New South Wales will carry in the hopes of what they did in game 2 there. Obviously without Mitchell, but other than that, the rest of the boys backing up for them. So it should be a good one, I reckon. Should be a good. I think New South Wales will at least make it a close one. I think
as long as it's not a game where I'm off to bed at half time again, because that's what game 1 and game 2 have been, off to bed at half time because of 2 blowouts. So hopefully we're rolling in there something like a 16-14 there at half time. That'd be interesting. Maybe even a 19-12. Maybe something like that. Someone's gone for a field goal, with 15 seconds on the clock. DC, I can see him doing something like that. Maybe 19-12 to Queensland at half time, and bang in the middle of the school holidays. So even better for me.
Let me see what that's paying.
19-12 at half time. Probably be worth a little bit of money there, I would say. We had the first full round we had in a wee while there last week.
Yeah, full 8 games.
8 games. So we've got a variety of players here popping in for your team of the week this week. Starting off at the back with Tedesco.
2 weeks in a row now.
Yep. Pretty awesome game there. First up against the Tigers and then up against the Dragons.
Yeah, he scores a lot of tries up against the Dragons. I think it was 9 tries in his last 7 games there, and another huge performance from Teddy. So certainly one that has bounced back from his Origin axing and in fine form there.
Yep, 100%. Joining him there. In the 2 speedster roles, we've got Brian Tor on one wing and Jason Saab on the other. Saab getting himself a hat-trick there in that Golden Point win for Manly.
Yeah, very impressive. Jason Saab there and Brian Tor. While he may not have got himself a hat-trick, he got himself a meaty.
And ran hard as always.
Yeah, as always, he's clocking up over 200 metres, so good on the bloke. And we go for the recalled man as one of our men in the centres there, Dane Gagai. I thought he had one of the best games we've seen out of him in a while on the weekend up against Canberra, and Ruben Garrick.
Yep, pretty instrumental there in that Manly win. Up against the Titans, no, not the Titans. Cowboys, sorry, there. I watched the whole first half, about maybe 30 minutes of the second half, and sort of fell asleep with about 10 minutes to go, and then woke up sort of as it was starting Golden Point. So I sort of tuned in, missed the 2-point field goal there to tie it up from Drinkwater, saw that afterwards. Obviously, a couple of shots there missed in that one there, but Garrick had an awesome game, a very very interesting game that one was. Gone for a halves pairing this week, Jackie Whiten and Jarome Hughes. Jackie Whiten, I brought him into my fantasy this week. Sort of looking around I needed a half, and I took a bit of a gamble there on him. Paid off well. And Jaram Hughes has been my captain for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and he's been firing off some pretty hearty looking scores. I thought up against the Tigers, surely they go out and roll through us. And I think he pulled up with about a 46, which was a little disappointing. So, but regardless of his fantasy points, bloody awesome game, just ripped up against us.
Yeah, 3 try assists, I think it was early as well, first half there for Jaram Hughes, but had his hands over everything for Melbourne, and yeah, Jackie Whiten, couple of meat pies, so that would have served you well fantasy-wise there, I'm sure. Tasty looking backline as always. Mitch Barnett comes in with Josh King in the front row there. Sorry, Max King.
Max King, yep.
For the Wars and Doggies respectively. Obviously opponents in this game, but not too much to separate the two in terms of stat lines there. Mitch Barnett, as we said earlier, he loves the tough stuff up the middle, which is probably why he's got the nod to get in that Game 3 Suncorp squad. And Max King, not too many people would have been picking this Doggies pack to be punching above their weight as much as they are. You obviously got Kikau and Reid Marnie there who slots in at 9 in this team of the week as well. But other than that, you've sort of got some battlers there that are doing a hell of a job for them. Max King, one of them.
Yeah, 100%. He was awesome. Another game there decided by a field goal.
Golden point,
yeah. 2. It's a pretty tasty looking front row. The try scoring machine that is Eli Katoa there as one of your second rows, and Angus Crichton also getting himself 2 meaties, I believe it was. Was it 2 in the end? Or just the one?
I can't remember. It's just sort of rocked my head back and cursed out every time the Roosters scored. I didn't really pay too much attention
to who it was.
To who was running off celebrating there. But yeah, Angus Crichton, he's dominating at the moment. Not too many teams can stop him. So hopefully that proves to be the same next Wednesday night as well. And rounding out the team for probably the 4th or 5th time.
Yeah, I'd say
6 or 7 weeks.
He'd be our most reoccurring lock, I would say, this year.
So an early
shot for
we're 18 of 27 rounds through, so we're looking at 2/3 of the way through the season. So Keon putting himself in pole position, shout out to him. Playing well again at number 13 for South and their big win over Parramatta on Thursday night.
Yep, he was awesome, and again being moved into a slightly different role there. We weren't too sure how it was going to go with once Cameron Murray came back, obviously, and had himself a really good game. So rounds out your team of the week for this week. Very tasty looking team. We roll into a 5-game round? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-game or 6-game round? 5-game round. So what are we? 2 Fridays, Saturday. No, Friday, 2 Saturdays, 2 Sundays?
A Thursday, a Friday, 2 Saturdays, and a Sunday.
Okay. So we kick off Thursday night, correct? Yep. Thursday night, Dolphins up against the Bunnies. The Bunnies obviously rolling through in this hot lane of form at the moment. And they're coming up against a fresh Dolphins team, obviously banking the bye there last week. But God, everyone's on the back of this Bunnies train at the moment. They're not looking like losing to anyone really, but obviously the Latrell now going down injured, whether or not that has a bit of a dampener on their run, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, Latrell whether or not we see him again this season, I'm not too sure how bad the injury was, but looks to be in some sort of foot brace / moon boot looking thing on some Instagram story that I saw. So not good news for South fans. Although you're right, they are playing some pretty good footy at the moment. Bit of a storyline here in this one. Obviously Wayne's current club and Wayne's club next year is going back to Souths, and has it been ever since that announcement? We've seen a little bit of a dip in the Dolphins form and a rise in Souths form. We've certainly seen the rise in Souths form, but interesting to see how the Dolphins results stack up pre versus post announcement there. So one for the stats minded out there. Dolphins at home, obviously missing their superstar Hammer in this one. South's missing their superstar Latrell. So if the Dolphins can turn things around, they're at home at Suncorp, but I don't know. The South team is coming and playing some really good footy at the moment.
Yeah, I find it hard to go past anything but a Souths win in this one. Obviously 2 byes there in the middle of this run of wins, but they've been playing some awesome footy, and it hasn't just been Latrell. Obviously, we've spoken about people like Kualawatangi and people like that. So coming into a game like this up against Dolphins, who possibly maybe not playing as well as we'd seen there in patches, and coming in with probably the most confidence over most teams in the league at the moment. I feel like it's hard to go past that, but you're right. Away at Suncorp, it's going to be that always has a bit of a play in it. So I'm sure Dolphins will be fresh. They'll be well rested after the bye, and they'll be up for it, I'm sure. So hopefully means we've got a nice tight game.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, the way Souths are playing at the moment, I don't see it causing them too much trouble. The Dolphins there, even though they do have the home advantage. That halves pairing of Cody Walker and Jack Whiten seems to be forming quite nicely. Jackie Whiten playing some great footy, grabbing himself some meaties, and Cody Walker as usual involved in the try assists, amongst the top 10 in the NRL. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with South off the back of that.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going for a Bunnies win as well there to kick off your short week of footy there. Means we roll into what? Did we say that was it a 2 Friday or a 1 Friday?
One Friday, 2
Saturday. 1 Friday. So game of the round there for your Friday night. We've got a repeat of a earlier awesome game from this season. The Sharks up against the Tigers. Obviously, earlier in the year, we destroyed the Sharkies on a very off night there for Nico Hydes. Both teams are coming in on the back of losses, but the biggest loss I think of all for either of these teams is the loss of Nico Hydes there to a pretty gnarly looking injury. Was it a broken leg and syndesmosis? Broken leg, am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
Something, I can't remember.
Yeah, I've only seen serious leg injury, so don't think we see
broken
him
foot, broken ankle, something along those lines. Out for the season as far as I'm aware, yeah.
So a huge one for Cronulla. I think a lot of people were saying if they wanted to make a dent come finals time, they were going to need an informed Nico there to be able to do anything. So yeah, interesting to see how they respond to that. It's a good chance for the Tigers to go up against a Nico Hynes-less Sharkies team before they get a few weeks under their belt to sort of start sorting things out with his absence. So,
yeah, I think it's a good little time. It's the first game without him. Obviously, last time I think he put maybe 2 or 3 kicks out on the full.
Yeah, I remember that. I like that.
Yeah, and that big win for us. Obviously, a little bit trickier here, not being at home in this one, but definitely good signs in that game up against the Storm. I mean, I said I'd be happy if we lost 1-12. We lost by 12 points there. Scoring 28 against Melbourne, I'm pretty happy with that. Again, another sin bin that just seemed to fuck us over, really. I believe I don't know what it was, but it was some sort of bloody record.
It's 13 sin bins. I think you need 6 more to take the record.
The amount of points we've conceded during the time that we've had sin bins.
They scored 2 tries while you had the bin.
It's outrageous. And I think that's the big thing at the moment for us is the discipline. I mean, if we can, it was a pretty bad. He didn't go for the ball out there on that kick. There was, he's turned his back on him, I think, and as soon as he's sort of gone away from the ball and sort of just gone for the man, you're kind of asking to be binned.
Yeah, this is a buzzy one. I don't know why you'd sort of get yourself in that position and do what Fatape did there. You may as well at least make it look like you're going for the ball rather than just standing there. You're not really going to get away with saying, "Oh, I'm just standing here while he's jumping above me." So, bit of a brain explosion. Probably ended up, more or less costing the Tigers on the night. You started the game really well. First half was pretty good. First 25 minutes was outstanding, really.
We played really well.
Ended the game with a bit of a flourish as well. A couple of tries to finish it off. To like you said, pull it into a 1-12 loss there. But as you said, that discipline definitely costing you guys. And up against the Melbourne side, the way Jerome Hughes is playing.
Tough ass.
You can't give them too many chances. Although it's tough, but I reckon the Tigers, if you guys can stay sin or send off free this week, up against this Heinzeless Sharks could be a good opportunity for you to pull off another win. Maybe pull clear of Parramatta before they go into their game on the Saturday evening there.
Which is a big one as well in terms of that.
Don't know how your draw stacks up for the rest of the year.
I think we've got a pretty tough looking draw as far as I'm aware.
Top 8 sides and stuff.
Well, anyone's kind of tough for us really, but there's only a couple of teams really where I think we can go out and snag a win against. But this is the game I feel like we can now with
I've got a feeling no Hines. Tigers were certainly on the score line and in periods they were in the game with Melbourne, who as we know, sort of in a bit of a cruise control state up the top of the table. So good signs for the Tigers. I'm gonna give you my tip this week.
I like it. I appreciate that, to be fair. I'm also going to give the Tigers my tip this week. Obviously I was going to go for it regardless, but Heinzeless Sharks. You'd be silly to go otherwise, I think. But it leads you into a very big game in terms of that battle for the spoon. The Titans up against the Eels. Now, the Titans obviously beating the Sharkies there last week, jumping another 2 points clear ahead of my Tigers and the Eels. Whereas Para continuing to lose, continuing to drop points. On the other end of that Bunnies result there. So it's a huge one. If the Eels get a win and we lose, and then it ends up with 12, 14, 16. That puts us on the back foot. If they were to draw, that could really fuck us over. To get done in by 1 point at the end of the season, I think that even more. And this one really, I'm kind of backing anyone who goes up against Parramatta these days. I feel like that's the way I have to go for the next month and a half. I'm going to that Parramatta Warriors game, and I think I'm going to have to go possibly and support the Warriors, which is pretty intense. But you got to do what you got to do if it means you're not going to get the spoon. So it's I don't want to say it's a spoon battle when it's sort of jumped ahead a little bit, but if we win this weekend and Para win this game, it all of a sudden becomes a lot more interesting again.
That is right, yeah. If you do both pick up a win, Gold Coast they'll be feeling your breath on their necks, so to speak. This weekend, Gold Coast Parramatta. I'm liking Gold Coast, probably due to the fact that Parramatta are missing Mitchell Moses for Origin duty there. Gold Coast not missing David Fafita.
Yeah, I think
controversially so.
That's a big part to play in this one.
Huge for the Gold Coast.
I think I also just
at home in this one.
Yeah, I think I just like the Titans because I'm not really liking Para at the moment. They haven't really been looking too flash. Neither have the Titans, but up against the Sharkies last week, they did look quite good. Obviously, that's 2 on the trot now. They've scored 86 points in 2 games. So, and Para is struggling to defend. So I think when you look at it like that, if the Titans can come out and get into an early lead, we could see a little bit of a blowout possibly happening in this one.
Yeah, big call. Don't know if Gold Coast have too many blowouts in them. They might have burnt a little bit of that out.
You reckon that's their one for the year done?
Maybe not their one for the year, but I don't know if we see
Another 66-6.
To be fair, if there is a chance to get a blowout on the cards, it is against the lowest ranked side that they will come up against for the rest of the season. I don't know if they come up against you again.
And if they do, hopefully we're not.
And I don't think they come up against Parramatta at any stage, so they won't be able to come up against them as 17th. If things go your way, but yeah, I don't know. Parramatta, they've been pretty shit, but some big news for them. Obviously, the announcement of Jason Riles on a 4-year deal coming in as head coach.
I did see that actually, yeah.
Under the tutelage of Robbo at the Roosters and Bellamy at the Storm over the years. We've seen plenty of promising young coaches come out of the likes of Melbourne and Roosters before, and I guess have mixed fortunes. You think of Adam O'Brien's done pretty well up at Newcastle. A few other assistants coming out of the ranks recently to do pretty well. Webster and Serraldo are doing pretty good things at their respective clubs. Maybe not Webster at the moment, but last year obviously. So yeah, interesting to see how Rousey goes in charge of Parramatta next year.
Yeah, there was
probably very tempted
to come on.
Yeah, probably very tempted by the prospect of having a halves pairing of Moses and Brown. I don't think you'd come across too many more that would tickle your fancy. More than that, obviously Cleary and Luai at the moment go pretty well, but they'll be split up next year.
You said you nearly drowned, Luai.
Yeah.
That's quite intense. Doesn't know how to swim.
Yeah, so stay out of the water. Don't get into a surf simulator if you don't know how to swim. I
thought it was a piss take at first, and then I kind of you could kind of see in his face he was actually kind of shitting himself still. So that was bloody intense.
Yeah, really intense there from Luai. Yeah, definitely an interesting clip to come across the old Facebook this afternoon.
100%.
Shout out Jerome Luai. Don't want anyone pulling up deceased
I'd feel bloody. I was going to say I'd feel ripped off if that was the case.
Yeah, investing in a big contract.
Yeah,
not to make light of anyone's life here, but
yeah, it's a bit of a big call, but it would have been
good to see he comes through the incident unscathed.
100%, I'm sure.
Maybe a bit of mental scarring.
I'm sure the boys will offer to take him up for some lessons, surely.
Look, thank God he's signing at the West Tigers and not the Gold Coast Titans.
Yep, staying west. Not much.
Sydney Roosters, somewhere where there's a surf beach. Probably wants to steer clear from those clubs. So West Tigers, good choice for him.
Not many beaches in Western Sydney.
Nah, not too many. Not too
so
many.
It's a bit of a rough ask there for him, but Titans up against the Eels.
Back on track. Yeah.
I'm gonna go for a Titans win. I'm liking the Titans more than Parrot, and I need Parrot to lose. So we're gonna bank a Titans win, a Titans win, to go on to that Tigers win, and then that'll be having us sitting there 2 points clear, and maybe 20-30 points difference would be quite nice, just to make that swing a little bit there. So yeah, ideally a big Titans win is what I'm after.
Yep, fingers crossed. I can see it on the cards. I've also gone the Gold Coast in this one. Unless Dylan Brown can really have himself a day out, I see Parramatta struggling again. So shout out Gold Coast, I suppose. On to the main event for your Saturday night. The big one there, Brisbane playing host to the Dragons. Both teams coming off losses last week. Brisbane, a narrow loss up against Penrith. A couple of calls either way might have made it a slightly healthier scoreline for Penrith at the end. I don't think Jerome Noah was offside at all, chasing in that kick.
No,
but then I don't know about that forward pass to Oates call. It looked to be okay to me.
A couple of off calls, I think. The Broncos, obviously, they hussed it out. They hadn't really been at their best, obviously, over the last month and a half, 2 months.
What are they, 5 losses in a row?
Yeah, they've definitely fallen off a wee bit. But they hung in there up against the Panthers, and they definitely gave it a good crack. But it's a good time for your Dragons to come up against them when they're in this poor patch of form. But a heavy loss there for your boys on the weekend, but I'm sure that'll have them fired up. Will have them really wanting to bounce back from that one, I'm sure.
Yeah, 102 points conceded to the Roosters.
Games.
Don't know if it's happened for a couple of years now. I think the Roosters did it to Brisbane 2020 or 2021.
That Brisbane got the spoon.
Yeah. And I think the Chooks were coming off back-to-back grand final wins there. They had a pretty stacked team. Tedesco got the peak of his powers. So pretty ugly reading for the Dragons. Although the scoreline probably doesn't tell the full story. It got ugly late in that second half there. We definitely had our moments, but yeah, probably just a class above the Roosters at this stage of our development, unless Benny Hunt, Zach Lomax are going to go out there and have the game of their lives. It's always going to be a tough slog up against the Roosters.
It's a huge game there for the Roosters, obviously. JWH.
Yeah, it's also it was a massive occasion.
He got himself involved with everything. He was cinnamon there in that first half. He had blood pouring down him. It was a huge occasion for the Roosters there. So it was always going to be tough. But you're right, it did get a little bit ugly there by the end of it. Obviously, shipping a few points. That is a huge total there. I didn't realise that 102 in 2 games. That's
and
not that flash.
And you think how much we have improved this year. Certainly haven't
improved by 18 points. 3 converted tries.
Yeah,
You look at it like that, it's not too bad. You've improved defensively.
Yeah, although last time out it was 60-18, so
you've fallen off.
We fell off a try. Yeah, wasn't our best effort going forward with the ball. Whether or not that was just sort of the Dragons being uninspired on attack, or the Roosters being a little bit more clinical on defence and attack, really. But ran in a few tries late to make it an ugly score, dent the Dragons' points difference even further. Every loss we've had this year has been big
losses. It's going to be tight if you get in there and you're battling for that 8th spot.
Dude, like Canberra last year were pretty fucked. Oh yeah, we're minus 60.
Minus 60,
which probably isn't
not
as
too
bad
bad.
as I
That's a
thought
minus
it was.
43. Yeah. Okay, we're minus 252 is my guess.
Suppose we had that big win up against you, which probably helped us knock off.
No, we're not that bad. 151.
Yeah, so you could even go ahead of Parramatta if you have a loss that's 6 points better than theirs.
I mean, look at that. We're in better form than Canberra. We're in better form than Brisbane. We're in better form than the Sharks.
Interesting. But yeah, it's an interesting one for the Dragons this week. It's probably a good time to go up against Brisbane with all their Origin stars out, but obviously on the flip side of that, you take Ben Hunt and Zach Lomax out of the Dragons side, and that's two pretty large holes to be leaving. Don't know if we. We've got the outside backs to cover Lomax, but certainly doesn't offer the same the same X factor, the same.
Benny Hunt's a big loss though.
Yeah, and Ben Hunt obviously has sort of been the heart and soul of our side for a number of years now. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I like to think there's a bounce back in us though, the way we've been playing this season. Flanagan as coach, our fortunes seem to be turned, and you're right. 5 losses in a row. It's a good time to come up against the Brisbane side. Would have probably preferred this one to have been at home rather than up at Suncorp, but I guess we make the trip up. Hope for 2 wins in the space of a week or 4 days there for my team's sake. It's going to be a big one for both sides to see, sort of similar to that Newcastle. Yeah, was that not where Newcastle and Raiders were sitting last week?
I think so. It's right on the cusp.
Not even on points. We're still ahead of the Broncos, but
it sort of puts the Broncos right back in the fight if they do pick up the win, and might even pop us back into the 8 if results go our way. If we do pick up the win, so a huge game for both teams.
Yeah, it could have quite a lot of ramifications on the
around 19
for the 8 there. I am backing the Broncos to break this little streak of losses here and take a win there, but also just so we could kind of mix it up a little bit there, have a little bit of difference there this week.
Yeah, we're gonna have a point of difference. We're now 7-all since we've gone for these tests. I won 3-2 in week 1. You won 5-4 last week.
So there you go. I had to go a little bit different. So we're going to go Broncos in this one, obviously.
Yeah,
you're backing the Dragons.
Yeah, always going to go Dragons. So yeah, fingers crossed. That's a good one come Saturday night. But we're into your lone game for Sunday Arvo. Manly hosting the Newcastle Knights. Manly off the back of that Golden Point win. Daly Cherry Evans kicking the field goal to see them home 21-20. I don't know how many times that is now that DC is kicked.
7.
seven
Seven
golden point field
seven
goals.
golden
Is that
point
the
field
most
goals. It's the most in
by like
history.
2 or 3?
I don't know how many it's by, but I think the Tigers as a team have only ever won 11 times in golden point.
And he's won the game 7 times.
He's won the game 7 times.
I suppose he has been playing for what, 13 odd years now, which is probably near on half the NRL's history. But
one every 2 years.
yeah, that's pretty crazy.
When you think about he's played with Kieran Foran, who probably dropped a few field goals in his time, I'd say.
And he's never been really a goal kicker, so you think of most goal kickers are pretty good field goal exponents as well.
So
Fanny Lyon in his early days.
yeah,
I can't remember if he was
you take it though. Top golden point. He's the golden point expertise.
The golden point king, you'd probably say.
But yeah, I believe there was three or four field goals missed in the last sort of 5 minutes and extra time there from the Cowboys.
What baffles me is Scott Drinkwater slots one from 40 metres out, and Chad Townsend and Valentine Holmes are the only ones that take one.
The next ones, yeah, which I thought was quite weird as well.
Probably even to the dude with the hot boot, the hot hand.
And then DCE takes his chance and breaks the heart of the Cowboys.
1 from 1 for Manly there, eh?
Yeah, I believe so. Maybe they might have actually missed one, I think. Yeah, it's that is a weird one that he slots a 2-point field goal.
How big was it, Jakey charging that one down from Chad Townsend? No, that was heading over, and he gets a good hand to it to steer it clear. So as a goalie, you got to be pretty proud of that. That's sort of effort.
He did do well on that effort there. But it was a very, very good game, this one there, and obviously good to see Tommy Turbo getting through the whole game unscathed there, no injuries, and all three Turbos there being involved in that game, Benny, Jakey and Tommy.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it in the preview last week, but always good to see three brothers lining up. We saw it for the All Blacks on Saturday night as well.
Did you see George Burgess is back playing? For some, I don't know where it was, and he's looking big. Not in a buff way, in a I'm a big prop type of way.
Yeah.
Which was interesting to see, standing next to his brother there, who's still looking big, like I'm gonna fuck you up type of big. I believe he got himself into a bit of trouble, possibly there, and I think he's been found not guilty, back playing a little bit of footy, and obviously put a few K's back on, but just sprung to my mind there, thinking about brothers, but yeah, you're right. It's nice to see a trio there running out for the same team, and even better to see the injury-prone man Tony coming our way without any injuries.
Obviously, didn't light up the game as we know he can do, but it's probably to be expected. You don't want to be coming out and burning that hamstring straight away. So I think his presence in the dressing room is enough for Manly to lift their game a little bit. We've seen them sort of up and down over the last few weeks, but it was a really good performance from them, and probably no coincidence that it was when Tommy Turbo lined up as well. But Newcastle as well, not this week with his recall to the Origin Arena, but Kalen Ponga coming back into the side for them, and that looks to be a huge boost for them as they look to make another charge. Similar to maybe what they pulled off last year.
A little bit similar, I think.
If they can find some of that form, they'll be hoping they can find.
I don't know if we see Ponga run away with a.
It'll be tough to replicate what he did last year.
Yeah, over the next couple of months.
But something similar to maybe push for a final spot.
I think they can
7 to 8 spot on the ladder.
They can definitely push for a spot in there. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, coming away with that win up against Canberra there on the weekend, but without him this week, whether that is going to be something that helps helps Manly. Obviously, they're missing Jakey. Ola Kawatu possibly will play, I would imagine. If he's
Yeah, he'll be getting ready. He'll get released from camp.
get released to come back and play. I know that's something that Jay was, I guess, pretty happy about, seeing him not being involved. That it is just Jakey and DC that they miss. But obviously that's also big there for Manly, missing those two. So the Knights though as well, been best now, and added player there to
And Dane Gagai.
and Gagai to both your centres out of the fray just like that. So that's a
Three backs missing.
That's tough.
Fletcher Sharp will probably come in for
We've seen
KP,
Sharp, we've
has he?
seen Armstrong. Team list would be out. I actually haven't seen them today. Who have we got there? 4.
Yeah,
That's a
look at
big
that.
list of players.
It's a big list each.
Fletcher Sharp. Ooh, Mapa Palangi, Dylan Lucas, Thomas Can't say we've heard of him.
Jamie Humphreys.
Can't say we've heard of him. Interesting.
Oh, didn't really click on him. But
Very interesting. I'm just going to quickly show a squiz at the Tigers. I hadn't seen that they were out. I think that it probably favours favours Manly. This one here, the players that are missing. DC obviously is a huge loss for them, but I think no Ponga, a very what looked like an experienced backline there, could just be the killer for the Knights in that one, and see Manly come away with the win in this one maybe.
Yeah, it's hard because I think Manly have probably shown that they've missed DCE more than Newcastle have missed Ponga this year. Although, you're right, lots of experience missing from that Newcastle backline, lots of striker from the centres there, so interesting to see how this makeshift Newcastle backline does come Sunday afternoon. But you're right, it must be at Brookie, right? Unless it's got some fritty venue.
I believe so.
So, hard to go past Manly. Luke Brooks will probably step up to potentially take that main man role, whether or not Ethan Humphreys is of that prototype or
Who
not.
knows?
But we may see a little nod towards the future there for Manly.
Is he the next DCE possibly? Yeah.
Although I don't see DCE retiring anytime soon.
No, he's definitely got
he's playing his career best.
a good couple of years left in him. There's no doubt
He's got
about
a toe on him as well.
I think I'm going to have to go Manly in this one. It's a tough one, but I think I'm going to have to.
I think the home advantage just gives my tip for me. Key players missing for both sides probably just about evens it up, but that home advantage.
Yeah.
Got to go Manly, I reckon.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to lock them in too. And it leaves you with a plethora of teams there. 6, 1, 2,
7.
3, 7. 7 teams there with the bye. The Doggies and the Warriors, obviously both teams there involved in that thrilling Golden Point matchup.
Manny Burton slotting the field goal for the win, second week in a row.
Also kicking it off the post again for another week in a row.
So DCE, what's that? 7 and 13 years. Matty Burton,
2 and 2 weeks.
2 and 2 weeks. So
He's on the hunt, that's for sure.
I don't know if the Doggies fans' heart rates could
Couple of
put up
controversial calls though. I think the Doggies were very lucky to get to Golden Point in this one. The
Doggies.
Warriors were hard done by right at the end there.
Doggies lucky not to be penalised for a little shot from Jamin Salmon a little bit too late there.
And he broke his jaw.
Yeah, karma.
Yeah. So, it's it's unlucky for the Wars, but it is. I guess it's the way it plays on the day. Sometimes. But they'll both be banking the 2 points. The Cowboys, obviously, also involved in a thrilling Golden Point matchup, but on the other end of the spectrum. So they'll be going out there this week and just practicing fifth tackle sets, passing the ball to Scotty Drinkwater there, I think, rather than
Val Holmes is on Origin duty this week.
So that's handy. Or maybe what they do is they just go out there and let Chad Townsend just practice them all week, just so that he can nail a few. Because I think they'll be pretty disappointed with their strike rate there. With must have been 4 or 5 attempts that they missed.
Yeah, I saw it was at least 3 or 4.
So that's what they'll be up to for their bye. The Panthers. They get a free 2 points, probably don't really need it, sitting sort of in that upper echelon there of the table. But they got the win there up against the hapless Broncos team there. So they'll also get that 2 points.
Yep, 2 points for the Panthers. I believe we will also see the return of Nathan Cleary on the other side of the bye there.
Ooh,
so
interesting.
Good to see for the Panthers there. Obviously not too many of their lads getting a rest, with about half of their team involved in State of Origin duty there. But the rest of the lads will get to put their feet up for a week, metaphorically speaking, depending on what Ivan has them doing. But cruising along at the top could probably do with donating their 2 points to a club in need, but maybe that's a discussion for another day. And then Canberra also picking up a free 2 points off the back of a loss to, I guess, put them back into that top 8.
Back in there, exactly,
with free 2 points, which is just interesting to see how that bye does.
It throws you a little bit, I think, because sometimes you forget that some teams have still got a bye up their sleeves.
A couple of teams with 2 byes, such as the Cowboys there, and the Roosters as well, I believe, with 2 byes, off the back of that big 100-point 2 innings dominating victory over the Dragons this season.
And then just to top it off, which is I think the most unfair of all, is Melbourne sitting there top of the table. No need for them to get an extra 2 points, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean the only thing that can really happen is some teams will draw in on their plus 200 odd, 125. That's the Roosters with 200. That's pretty crazy though.
Penrith have got a bye as well. I mean, everyone's so far behind them really anyway, So, look, I mean, Sharkies, they're going to lose again. Do the Doggies play this week? Well, they've got the bye.
They've got the bye.
So they get a jump up there as well. But it's a short week, but it is all for a good reason there in the run up to State of Origin. Big deciding match. Game 3 there, this time next week, tomorrow. 8 days away. Now we're right down to the nitty gritty of the Euros at the moment, aren't we? Where we've 4 teams left up to the semi-finals tomorrow, must be.
First semi-final tomorrow, I believe. 4 pretty big traditional footballing nations there going head to head in the final 4. First off, we see France up against Spain in what many are sort of pipping as, I guess, the pre-tournament favourites versus the current favourites in that semi-final. That is very intriguing tomorrow. Interesting to see if France is France's tactic of
Defend.
scoring from open play can see them through to the final without scoring a goal from open play, or whether Spain do open the game up and score a couple of goals as we've seen them do to most teams so far.
I think if you'd said this was the semi-final to me, which I think I did possibly have as no, maybe not. I might have had this as my final during my little tournament.
Because France came second in their group, so
yeah,
you probably wouldn't have had.
I think I did have it as my final, France versus Spain, and my predictor there, and I picked France to win. You said this was my semi-final at the start of the season. Again, I'd probably say this, but looking at it now, I find it hard to go past Spain. They've been, like you said, scoring some goals, playing some good footy. Danny Carvajal obviously being sent off in the last game, he's been immense for them, so that's a huge loss.
Missing about 120 odd caps.
Yeah,
probably.
And he'd been easily one of their best players. So whether it's it's a 0-0 and we go to penalties or something like that, Spain just struggle to score against them. Saliba bosses them out like he has been all tournaments so far. And I think either way, whoever wins, you can say that they deserve to be in the final, whether it's Spain for playing some nice footy and dominating teams, or whether it's France for hussing out games and getting the result when you need it.
Yeah, I have to say, it certainly is contrast in style. It would be good for the footballing neutral to see Spain progress, I suppose. Always good to see attack prevail over defence. Don't like to see boring football. 0-0s are never the best watch, but I suppose it doesn't really matter if you're French or support the French. So yeah, interesting to see which style gets up tomorrow morning. Don't know.
I'm going to go Spain as well. I'm thinking Spain 2-1 after extra time.
After extra time, 2 goals in the extra time, or 1-1.
1-1. Mbappe pen. I'm going to go another penalty.
Mbappe pen.
And then a Danny Olmo equaliser, and then I'm going to go for a
Rodri.
Joselu maybe, bit of a.
You reckon they're subbing off Morata captain or subbing him on to play?
I don't know. Maybe we saw Mikel Merino last minute winner there, obviously. So whether we can see something like that again, right at the end. But I'm gonna go Spain. Spain 2-1.
2-1. Yeah, I think it's probably a good call. Yeah, Spain. I don't know about a scoreline. I'll say 2-0 just to change it up. But yeah, Spain certainly looking the favourites. Onto the second game, which not too many people would have had these two in the semi-finals based on sort of their up and down performances. Well, Netherlands have had some up performances. Don't know if you could say that about England, but
they've scored a couple of good penalties. Against Switzerland.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Obviously, the difference on the day there was Jordan Pickford saving
just being well prepared.
Penalty.
Did you see that water bottle?
What's that?
His water bottle had every single player from Switzerland and where he needed to go and things like that. Just well prepared.
A little bit of mind games involved in that first penalty. It took him about 3 minutes to make his way over from the corner flag once Akanji had put the ball down ready to take it. So yeah, things certainly haven't been well for England ever since that first half up against Serbia, where they looked quite good. They've fizzled out since then, but similar to France, they won't mind too much because they're in the semi-final. They're in the final four. They're 90, 120, 130, whatever it is, minutes away from a second consecutive European final, so that would be a pretty snazzy effort for Gareth Southgate. Whether or not he is able to bypass this hurdle of this Dutch side that came third in their group, behind Austria and France.
Yeah, were they third? They must have been Austria top, France second, Netherlands third, yeah.
So big effort from one of the third place sides to get through this far, but Netherlands obviously a huge footballing nation. They've got plenty of talent across the park. It should be a good game, I reckon.
I'm going Netherlands in this one. I'm going Netherlands so we can have a repeat of that 2010 World Cup final. Yeah, Spain, Netherlands.
I think.
I just don't know if I've really liked what I've seen from England. England and France both haven't really cut the mustard.
No, definitely haven't been lighting it up. Particularly when you look at their lineups. England stacked with certainly midfield players with so much talent, so much creative spark, so many goals in their respective leagues, and then you add Harry Kane up top. It's interesting to see that, yeah, they've really struggled, and then France with Kylian Mbappe is probably enough said. You would have expected them to, or him at least, to have scored a couple of goals, but not to be. Netherlands, an impressive performance up against Turkey. Was it? Oh no, I'm thinking of the round of 16.
No, it was.
Daniel Marlin scored 2.
That was round of 16. Gakpo scored in this one.
Gakpo scored a nice goal.
Yeah, I think
and
it's.
Was it De Vrij?
I'm not too sure off the top of my head. It's going to be tough, I think, for England this one. They're really going to have to try and pick it up, and I don't think the English fans or the players are going to be wanting to go through another penalty shoot decider in this one here. But I do think it'll come down to the wire. I don't see Netherlands running away with it. I'm going to go for another 2-1 after extra time result, I'm thinking. 2 games, 120 minutes played in both, and both games being decided sort of right down in the nitty gritty of it all.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to go for a 1-0 after extra time England win. We're going to see Tony off the bench.
Tony
scoring.
I really like that call.
He came on and slotted a penalty there in the shootout. Came on and set up Harry Kane's winner against Slovakia with a nice little header across the goal. What's going on here?
Did you see his eyes?
Nah.
He kind of woke up, and then I swear his eye did a full. Well, it looked like it did
rolled back in his head.
Rolled back, but it looked like it came back around the other side again, which I thought was a bit unusual. But it might just be the angle that he's sort of. I think he's. You're probably awake now, you boy. I think he was. I don't know. I think he's half asleep still.
Yeah, he's a pretty comatose sort of.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's.
He'll just relax on the couch until I take him to bed.
It sounds like he's asleep. I think he's just. I've woken him from a couple of dreams here and there, and he's kind of freaked out. You know what I mean?
So you're picking a Spain-Netherlands final, repeat of the 2010.
Yeah.
I'm picking Spain-England.
Repeat of some war I know back in the day. I'm pretty sure Spain and England. I think they had the Spanish Revolution. Was that Spain and England?
Not a big history guy, but
I believe something along the lines has been a Spanish-English war. So that's
had to have been.
It's a repeat
close proximity. They're two pretty powerful.
I want to say the Spanish Revolution.
Colonizing countries.
Yeah,
they've probably had a few.
I'm also not a history buff, but Spanish
English wars.
Revolution. That's a civil war, so I don't think that's got anything to do with anyone in England. What were the two sides of the Spanish Revolution? The Nazis. That's quite. Wars. There is a war between Spain and England. Wars between England and Spain.
The English.
That makes, doesn't that make perfect sense, doesn't it? See? England won, so maybe
England won the war.
England won the war between Spain and England.
So if they can get through the hurdle, they may find some better fortunes. Don't know if Netherlands have ever been involved in too many wars.
No, and I don't see them really winning a big war like that up against England. I think
they're more suited for the battle of the football arena.
Yep, stick to the pitch.
See what they can pull off. Maybe the English come in a little bit underdone, a little bit out of form, and the Netherlands can see themselves really fly under the radar. I don't know if too many people would have had them making their final pre-tournament, but it's a huge chance for them.
Yeah, I think it is. It's a very big shot. So come Thursday morning, we will know when our finalists are going to be. Pretty quiet weekend on the Oki, really, as we lead into the match play starting tomorrow morning. Is it tomorrow morning? Is it? It's either tomorrow or it's Thursday morning. And you're up, mate. You're slightly over the edge there. What does that say? Jesus, I'm well off there. Saturday, July 13th. It's not till Sunday morning our time, so that's not when we can get back into it. So mostly next week there. And the game that everyone's talking about is the second to last game. Look at that as well. If England reach their final, session times will change. Fair enough, especially when you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 an English player in all 4 games there, so that's fair. But the game everyone's talking about is MVG up against Littler, the second to last game. They're a huge first round matchup there, so that's going to be really interesting to see how that one plays out. One huge predicted winner, I guess you'd say, out in the first game, which would be huge. But we had some NZ darts over the weekend. We had the qualifiers for the NZ Darts Masters, and we see Johnny Tata, the bloke who beat Peter Wright last year, getting another appearance, and Daniel Snooks. Now, he was the second player I ever played at Birkenhead. First player that ever had a 180 against me in my entire life, which is quite a cool thing to say. He took the win there on the weekend as well, so he's making his TV debut, I believe. So that's pretty cool. And then John Herring, another Kiwi fella, winning a spot on the Aussie Darts Masters of the Wollongong one over there in New South Wales. I believe both of those roll around in about a month's time or so, a month and a half, some stage in August, I believe. So off to Wollongong and then off to Hamilton there they will be. But yeah, there wasn't too much on over the weekend. I'm guessing a little bit of a rest there before they get into that match play. That's probably us for another week. As always, if you've made it this far, thank you for listening, thank you for tuning in. Remember to get involved in all your socials, give us a like, give us a comment, give us a 5-star. Enjoy your week ahead, enjoy your holidays if you are a teacher like myself and able to put your feet up. If you're having a punt, do so responsibly, and hopefully we'll see you here next week.
Yep, sounds good to me. We'll see you then.
Marshall skips away, Marshall's still going, Marshall's got Richards coming up outside, now inside.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing.
Bennett and the Dragons win the grand final.
Whips that one away, and Kane Williamson and his team now world test champions.